Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a Recon the Role-Playing Game story. I'm titling this one, Going Off Half-Cocked. Something no gamer should ever do. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Friends can still disagree. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page over on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the one picture here, Outlaw Trails. It is a tabletop role-playing game based in the Old West. I designed it to be simple so that even beginning game masters can run it easily after just reading for a couple hours. All you need is the book, dice, and you're good to go. And if you enjoy quirky, weird stuff, check out my author page. There's lots of good stuff there. Hope you find something you like. I hope you enjoy reading it. All right. Going Off Half-Cocked. I was running a game years ago, and the group I was running had 4 players: Dave, Bill, Greg, and Joe. They wanted to play mercenaries, so I set up an introductory scenario to let them get their feet wet, get used to running their characters. Dave and Bill were both running point men. Dave's secondary MOS was Grenadier and Bill's was Medic. Greg ran an Intel Sniper while Joe was running a Pigman Medic. And having 2 medics in the group is a good idea. I tried to hint that RTOs were also useful, but they laughed that off. So, you know. The opening scenario was easy. They had to eliminate a fuel depot and kill an enemy officer so that cooler heads could prevail to prevent a war. They worked well together and the mission was a success. The lack of communications did not seem to bother them, and so that was okay. The second mission was where things went south. They had been contacted by a Middle Eastern country representative. They needed a file from an office in a city just over the border, and their operatives were all well known. The mission was something to prevent the other nation from taking legal action against their employer, and they needed that file. I tried to keep the mission basic. So now the group agreed to the pay, and they jumped into a truck and set off for the border. They didn't have a plan. They didn't have any gear other than what they brought with them. And they had no intelligence on the target. They knew the address of the building. That was pretty much it. They hit the border and just crashed through the border checkpoint, killing 1 guard in the process. The other 2 guards radioed ahead and gave chase in a Jeep. Now, Joe was driving and his skill was questionable at best. The group was all armed with handguns. The guards chasing them in the Jeep had submachine guns. Joe managed to fail 4 driving rolls in a row and ran off the road into some rocks. The guards stopped and started peppering the truck with their automatic machine pistols. The group exited the truck and ran for cover. Greg got hit like 20 times and dropped dead. Dave offered to occupy these 2 random guards while the other 2 made for the city. Bill and Joe took off on foot, heading for the city. They knew basically where the city was, but that was pretty much it. They ran all night long and finally reached the city outskirts at dawn. Meanwhile, back at the rocks, Dave managed to wound one of the guards before he ran out of ammunition. He tried to flank the bad guys in the dark, but failed his silent movement rolls 3 times in a row. The remaining guard heard something and sprayed the area with his machine pistol. And that's where Dave died. The city had been alerted to the situation, so when Joe and Bill tried to sneak in, they noticed a crap ton of guards on alert. They managed to get within a block of the building where the office was, and it was a government building with hellacious security. They scouted the building and they found a tree close enough to the wall so that they could figure that they could probably climb the tree and get into a 3rd floor window. That was their plan. So they were climbing this tree in broad daylight at 2 in the afternoon next to a government building with security tighter than a frog's asshole. Yeah, they got spotted. A couple of secretaries were eating their lunch under a nearby tree, they saw them and ran off to tell the guards. Joe was able to climb into the window as the guards opened up and sprayed the tree with their submachine guns. Bill fell dead. He was a sitting duck. There was no place for him to hide. He kind of fell out of the tree. He was dead. That was it. The guards also saw which window Joe had entered, so that they radioed inside to the guards that were inside the building to let them know. Joe got cornered in a hallway and then trapped in a closet, and he ran out of ammo. He then realized that the only way out was a small third-floor window. He climbed out the window and up to the roof, where he eliminated a guard on the roof because he was able to sneak up on him and grab him and choke him out, and grabbed that guard's submachine gun, but he was stuck up on the roof. So he decided to wait until nightfall. And I rolled really crappy for the guards. Nobody went up to the roof to check. Joe then tried to climb down. He failed his climbing skill, no shit, 6 times in a row and fell to the pavement below. He also failed 2 agility checks so that when he landed really hard and he ended up breaking his foot. He then crawled into some bushes and hid for 3 hours until he was sure the guards calmed down and they weren't, looking for him anymore, at least not in that area. At this point, during this time, Joe realizes that the mission is scrubbed, and he's not going to be able to complete the mission. So he crawls into the parking lot and hotwires a car. And then he drives out of the city trying to reach the border. Now, just short of the border, he hit a checkpoint and, of course, failed more skill checks. The guards realized he was not a local and that the car was reported stolen. Joe tried to elude them in the car, but ended up getting riddled with bullets and died. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't gather intel, don't plan ahead, and don't gear up. This mission was a shit show from the get-go, and it was not the fault of the mission director. Most of these players refused to play with me again because they thought I was unfair. Yeah, that many failed rolls and that many bad ideas, there is absolutely no way they could blame me for that. Absolutely no way. So yeah, if you're playing Recon and you want to complete any mission, intelligence, planning, proper equipment, those are the 3 mainstays. If you can't get that part down, the mission's gonna it's gonna be a failure. It's all there is to it. Hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.